Hey Kim, what are we doing today?
We are in Corona, California at Troy Lee Design's office. So I've been friends with Troy Lee for a long time. He's painted a bunch of my helmets. Legendary painter in moto. We're here to see what he did for me for a livery and see my brand new helmet. So let's go inside.
Oh, hi Troy. How are you?
How's it going?
Doing well.
Yeah, usually he sends me this is what the car's looking like, and then I go from there. So this is cool to.
Yeah, but you've actually done some crazy stuff for me though.
Yeah.
You know, that was completely independent of the car. So we've done some stuff that's been from the car or stuff where we kind of let you go wild with stuff.
Yeah. So the first helmets I did are like Magoo's helmet up there. And that's my first visor too. This is Magoo's too. But I made these in my mom's oven, vacuum formed the visors and everything. This is when he was doing super bikers, so I had to do it really short so it didn't catch wind because they were going like 110 miles an hour down it.
Wait, hold on. You made those in an oven?
Yeah, I made them in my oven. That's why I got kicked out of my mom's house. Plastic. But the cool thing was I put the visor on and he's like, dude, put a sticker on. I go, I don't have stickers. And then he let me sign it, and I was like, he goes, just sign your name there, you know? So it was like, this was kind of the start before, and I'm like, oh shit, I guess I'm gonna make Troy Lee Design stickers, man. Like, yeah, 1979 or 80. Because I was still racing motorcycles, and I was really welding pipes for Mitch, painting.
I mean, you really got kind of the biggest name from making the wildest helmets and the best helmets for like McGrath.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was kind of where you, I wouldn't want to say peak, but where you really became sort of
Jeremy Wardy and
like a household name in motocross.
Yeah.
I mean, we met long before I started racing because of motocross. Because I rode motocross, and obviously he was very big in the industry, and we had a lot of mutual friends. But I think there's a mutual love for design. So once I started racing, we were able to kind of do a lot of fun stuff with helmets.
So we're going in the paint shop right now, and you're gonna get a first look of your new helmet.
Yes.
You ready?
Yes. Well, of course, we've seen designs of it, but to actually see the helmet itself is always...
It's always way more fun.
Yeah, always way more fun.
Big moment.
Damn. That looks amazing. It's one thing to see these things on the computer, but it's way more nicer to see it like this.
To me, it's always cool to see it on the track, too.
Or in the car, in my case.
In the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah.
It's all yours.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the flat versus the gloss stripes just turned out amazing. Troy's signature
And playing
there.
with the purple chrome, man, is cool.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that all your ideas about mixing some of the mediums and some of the finishes worked out really well. Haven't really seen that much in race cars, so.
Top racer stuff here. But no, I think it works out good with the stars. Kind of makes it a little bit subtle, but then also just makes a cool element, you know, like it's flickering too. So.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about how we got this thing done. Do you have your original drawings?
Yes.
Well, I mean that's the one that we actually took to then convert to what we came up with. So the asymmetrical look.
Yeah.
You know.
I thought I had one after this that we did the right different colors on. But.
You know, I gave Troy plenty of time because he doesn't like to be rushed, and we really liked the stripes and the asymmetrical look. We wanted something that kind of was a retro modern type thing. So something that looked like would work well in the 90s, but then have some really modern flair to it.
I get an idea and I just sketch it down, send it to him on the phone, see if I'm going down the right path so I don't spend hours putting it in the computer. Just kept, just trying to improve it every couple weeks, and I think we're kind of getting to the finish line here, man.
See there, that's the sort of things he texts me, which is that image. Always fun working in this way. I love seeing hand-drawn stuff again. So we started obviously here, and then we ended up here with a total asymmetrical look, and using elements that Troy uses a lot, which is stars for blends in the black and white. And the black and white areas are going to be, flat vinyl with gloss stripes and a chrome purple stripe. For me, it's just a rad mix of Troy's style mixed with what we do for, Hoonigan Racing.
This place is pretty awesome. We actually got to see the livery reveal on the helmet.
Yep.
Ken, where are we headed next?
Well, we're leaving. I have to go to UK to test this car now, but Scotto is going back to Ash's to actually show how Ash then takes the livery and puts it on everything that he's built. So the images are insane. So check that out next.
Awesome.
All right, so I'm here today at Ash Thorp's home studio. That's Ash Thorp.
Hey guys.
How'd you get involved in this?
Basically I've been doing car stuff for a bit, and I was doing a lot of CGI cars, and my whole goal was to hopefully maybe Ken or you would see it and be like, hey, we should have Ash design the next like Hoonicorn or something. So that never happened, unfortunately, but my friend Sam kindly introduced me to a friend of Ken's, and then we got introduced to each other via email. He was like, hey, let's design a car together, and he offered up the Cossie, and I said, let's do it. It sounds amazing. So we're here today.
And so quick background, cars are actually just your hobby.
Yeah.
So what do you do professionally?
So professionally, for my normal career, I basically work in films, doing vis effects, which is like all the things that you see in films that aren't in camera, which would be like explosions and like when lasers are flying through the screen stuff. I design that stuff, or designs of screens that are in films. So I do that primarily for like Hollywood level films, blockbuster kind of movies, and then like AAA games like Call of Duty games and stuff. I'll design user interface and stuff like that. So.
All right, so name drop a few things you worked on.
Call of Duty, like the Black Ops stuff, Ghost in the Shell, Assassin's Creed. There's just a bunch of films. Ender's Game.
Total Recall.
Total Recall, yes.
This is funny because this is something that's your like pastime, your hobby.
Yeah.
This is what you do when you're not working.
Off hours.
And now we're making you work.
Yeah, well, building the Cossie was a part-time job, but it's mainly just made out of love, because doing this, working with Ken, working with you guys, is like, for me, it gives me tremendous value, and it's my hobby on my off hours, but it's a lot of fun, and it's something great to have in my life. So.
All right, so we're gonna have Ash walk us through the process, jump in on how he designed the Cossie, what it looks like, and all of that. So we're gonna go through the phases, and this is gonna be the short version. The long version will be on bonus channel, where he just talks for like hours. It's totally entertaining. Watch it.
So when Ken suggested, he was like, hey, we should do the 93 Cosworth, and I was like, okay, cool. He didn't give me any direction, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna go full like ridiculous style, like remove the rear bumper and like add crazy spoiler supports and do like some kind of like weird thing up in the front and just basically destroy the car. And then Ken's like, okay, that's too much. So during the process of modeling the CGI, I'd take all those renders, pass them to Ken. Ken would pass that off to the builders that are making it. And the whole thing about this is, it's as much as I want to break the rules and like go crazy with this, it still has to form a function. Like Ken's gonna race this thing, so I had to think about, it's like designing in a box, which is actually really good, because then I can't go too crazy. So in the beginning, Ken sent me photographs of the original, which obviously is basically just a wider version of the original car. So I think what we wanted to do is really just amplify it all, just turn it up. So one of the big inspirations was obviously Ken's current race car, which has a phenomenal amount of engineering and technology involved in the aerodynamics of it. You can kind of see how the lines and the way that the air is actually flowing and how efficient it all works. We modeled it to scale so that it would fit to spec. So I think it's like out by like a foot or something, total. It's crazy amounts of basically where the wheels sit on the car now. So yeah, this is what I call a clay render. And this is basically looking at the car in its most primitive state. This is a very early stage of the car design. We're actually looking at it before a lot of the details were done and like measurements were set, kind of like a thumbnail sketch, basically, like an early look at the render process and stuff. This is before we add materials and do anything dynamic with lighting and stuff. So when I do these renders, I'm basically trying to show Ken all the different dimensions and the basic kind of proportions of the car, because that's the beauty of doing it in CGI. We can basically see the car before it's made. I was really, you know, trying to find ways of incorporating like the front canards, and then also trying to find a way to really smoothly integrate new body panels, but do them in like an aggressive way, but also a really beautiful way. Starting from front to back with the car and the details, there's so many little details that we try to add in. I was trying to find a way of matching the line. For me, it was all about seeing the silhouette and then trying to find a way to make the silhouette merge, but at the same time adding pieces that were going to shift and pitch the overall design and just the angle of the car itself within proportion. So like things like in the rear light here, I basically wanted to, when we cut off the rear quarter panel vent and the over fender, I wanted to find a way to match the angle so that it fit with the original body lines. There's all these little things that you don't realize, or like the proportion to where the bottom part turns in and cuts and how it cuts. But it was all about trying to find a way of having these aggressive lines that were going to merge into it. And this is also something that Ken brought up, a lot of really good details, because this is his world too, so he knows race cars in and out. So this is really cool, and getting his feedback was great. Another really cool detail is, this is probably one of the first things that we did, is obviously one of the most pronounced things of this car is this incredible like spoiler, because it's like either love it or you hate it. This rear spoiler, Ken wanted to have like kind of like an addition to the duckbill. So, and it was all about doing something subtle. So the rear diffuser, I wanted to find a way of having the diffuser follow the lines of the body itself. So if you can see here, the curve hits on the lights. I use the lights as a big inspiration for all the designs actually. I try to use that curve to match how the rear bumper was cut. It was all about finding like a very harmonious way to have the lines flow. Because when you put pieces onto a car, you can either go like really great or it can go really wrong. So it's all about a process of design and having like a good compromise between the balance between aesthetics and function, which is obviously it's a race car, so we can kind of break a lot of rules. So. All right, so you've seen how the modeling process worked and all the ins and outs of kind of designing and all that kind of stuff. So once we have the modeling process done, now we move into the livery process, which is designed by Troy Lee. This is kind of how liveries have been done from what I understand, which is top, side, front, and back, and you see it via like an Illustrator file. The thing that I came in with was that, cool, we can see the livery, but how about we see it in 3D? My friend Leo and I, we went to town on this, took the livery and figured out a way of putting it on the car itself. And it was a very tricky process involving UVing. It's a horrible part of the CGI process, probably the worst part, but it's an important part because it's basically like the skin of the outer surface. So this is when I introduced lights. This is when I introduced textures. This is where I introduced like ground and all this stuff. So now we have it in flat black. Where I'm doing stuff in CGI with a car, it's almost always starts in flat black. Once we have that and all the hours combined, the design process, the iterations, the multiple emails between Ken and I, me working with my friends, and we finally got here.